pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Amen.
We'll call the roll, please.
John Junko.
Here.
Maria Mills Jeanette. Bo Bofman.
Here.
Mike Arminio.
Here.
Thomas Jordan.
Here.
Newton White.
Here.
Lance Green.
Here. Consideration of the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Comments? Anybody? Call the roll, please.
John Junko.
Yes.
Bo Bofman.
Yes.
Mike Arminio.
Yes.
Thomas Jordan.
Yes.
Newton White.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes. Case number 17-500000008. Modification to an approved development order, Kings Landing Phase 1.
Tim Berman, Community Development. This is basically a modification to what was previously approved by Council back in May, and I think the Planning Commission in April. Initially, it was for the 19 acres on the 82 acres, and they were going to come back and do a replat. Instead of doing that, they basically have decided to do it all as one phase, and it's platting the whole entire property. So essentially, it's going to be 71 lots on the 82 acres. Staff has reviewed it for concurrency reviews with public facilities that are available. It meets the criteria. It also is consistent with the future land uses on the property. There are two proposed subdivision variances in this for this particular project. They pertain to the access points that are existing in adjacent roadways. One is to pull it up here. One is to the north, which is Westport Drive. The subdivision variance is to not extend Westport Drive into the subdivision. The reason for that variance is basically if more traffic could go through that subdivision, it allows more traffic to make a left onto Taylor Road, and during school hours that's very congested. So that's more of a traffic safety to minimize the amount of cars that can go through that intersection, turn left. If you've ever been there during school time, it's pretty hectic with traffic and also kids crossing that area. So that is the request on that one. The next one is Forest Troll Drive. You can't see on this plan, but basically where Forest Troll Drive ended up when they extended and Bent Oak subdivision was constructed, there's a 36-inch historic tree right at that right-of-way. Basically, in order to save that tree, also with the roadway configuration of Broken Bow and Forest Troll Drive, and also the road network that's being proposed with this subdivision, the intersection was very tight and constrained to make that intersection then. So basically to kind of provide a safer intersection at that point and also that preserve that 36-inch oak tree, that variance was requested on that access point. They still will have 4 access points at this property. There'll be one to the east, English Oaks Drive, 2 to the south, Broken Bow Lane and Rocco Road, and then of course the main entrance off of Hensel Road. Staff is recommending approval of the proposed, or the application, subject to approval of the subdivision variance for the 2 points of access, and also for finalization and of the fair share agreement, which will be needed for the trips associated with the project that are impacting the Devon Taylor Road traffic intersection. They'll have to pay into that then. So, are there any questions for staff?
Newton, you got anything for Tim yet? No?
No, we discussed the possibility of removing the Westport, and I believe Forest Troll was discussed before too. I'm happy to see that I'm going to take a step to save a historic tree. That was the only thing that we hadn't even. None of this is a surprise, so I have no questions about it.
Tom?
Yeah, I agree. The fact that we're saving a tree makes up for the fact that we have to do a variance there. The only comment I had was whether the school board really reads this stuff because they've got typos and errors in their letter confirming this. Totally separate issue though.
You're
That's all.
smarter than a third grader.
That's right.
Who wrote it?
Mike?
Very much.
No, we've seen this thing so many times, and actually this is what we've wanted all along from the beginning, so I'm pretty pleased with the way the project's going to look.
Bo?
He answered the questions I had, so I'm good.
Johnny?
I share everyone's thoughts.
Okay, so Talk to me about this fair share now, again.
Basically, back in 2005, we did a roadway project to construct a light at Devon and Taylor. It was a warranted intersection. So we basically did that as a project. It was through the TPO, so we got a portion of it funded through grants from FDOT, but the city did have to pay some money for that intersection improvement.
Right.
So anytime we get trips that go through that intersection with development, as in this case, they're going to be required to pay toward that project. So we've got a specific number of trips going through that area, and we'll do a fair share agreement, and they will have to, prior to going to council, or basically prior to getting their development order, pay that payment then.
Payment for what?
Payment for the trips that they send that use that traffic light.
Really? On a light that's already there now? I mean,
It's already, yes.
It's not for future intersections somewhere down the line?
No, it's for that specific light.
Okay.
What about Hensel? Does it have anything to do with Hensel as well?
Well, Hensel's, I mean, that, a paid light, this was basically specifically put in recently on that one, and it was designated as a fair share project. Hensel is not.
Yeah, okay.
It's, been on the fair share project list for about 10 years now.
Okay.
It's just a lot of development hasn't been in this area to pay toward it then.
Warrant, yeah.
Okay.
I think the only other project that ever tripped it was the one that was proposed at the intersection of Central Park Boulevard and Spruce Creek. That subdivision there was the only one that ever tripped it in the past, and that never got built. So this is the first one to really pay toward it then.
Huh.
I thought like a lot of times when we were doing this fair share, I mean, we were doing things at the pavilion, but we were fixing the light at Clyde Morris and Dunlawton because of, all the...
Yeah, those were designated projects that were set up then,
I
and at
gotcha.
those times those projects would, if they sent trips through it, we would charge them then.
I got you.
Um,
Okay. All right, so I mean, I'm okay with the variance items, which is deleting the 2 roads because of the tree and the thing. I'm okay with that, but, all right, so we want to hear from the applicant?
Well, yeah, Glenn's got to earn his money. Frank would be happy if he didn't, but I'm...
Where's this timer button at?
Hi. For the record, my name is Glenn Storch, and I represent the applicant in this case. And as Tim indicated, this is exactly what you had asked for, what the council had asked for. And in fact, I should point out that and I appreciate your approval of Phase 1, and when we took this to council and we looked at their Phase 1, they also indicated that in the future they were looking at, we had too many access points. So it's one of the reasons why we looked at this. And the Westport is a logical place, of course, because, I mean, that's just going to cause a mess. And the residents of Westport, when we were doing the PUD originally, had real concerns regarding that. The forest troll, same thing. There were some concerns there anyway, but the tree does solve the problem. We're going to keep the tree, and that solves the problem as well. Again, it meets every single criteria of the Land Development Code. I think Tim has indicated that we met this criteria. This will allow us to now do all the infrastructure at the same time, so you won't have, a partial infrastructure built, in a road to nowhere. I think this is much better for everybody. So, right now the property is being used. I think it's almost done, but the property is being used. We leased it to the city to allow them to put their debris material there, and so we're trying to be good citizens as well. I thought I'd mention that. I do appreciate it.
Appreciate that.
Glenn, what are you going to do with that debris? Are you guys going to burn it? Or you chip it?
The city is required to remove it.
Oh.
But it's not ours.
Yeah, well, I know. Yeah, I mean, that's great.
It can
No,
be.
we know.
You can have it if you want.
For a price.
But we don't care how they remove it, but the city is required to remove it.
All right, and Glenn, I think, like I said, Glenn, these are kind of cut and dry with the 2 variance things. Anything for Glenn, Newton?
No.
Anybody? Mike?
Less than 3 minutes.
I know it. All right,
That's a
thank you.
record.
All right,
still get the bill of
anybody
sale.
from the audience want to speak to this? We know you got to get paid too, so.
No, I'm Steve Johnston, 6035 Hensel Road. I just have a couple questions and comments. First of all, I noticed that we've increased it by 2 lots. Are those 1 acre lots?
Okay, I can't answer that one. We'll find out.
Okay. One of the things that's always concerned me when you have development like this is quality of life. Anytime that you drive around the city, I went to a workshop last year and we did a survey, and the number 1 concern of everybody at that meeting was quality of life, traffic, and infrastructure.
I want quality of life, not quantity of life. And when you add things like this, I don't have a problem with what they're doing as far as the way they've tried to work and to work with the citizens on this project to keep it approximately the same size as Rolling Hills. Now, as I'm understanding, there are 4 access roads now. Hensel Road, Rocco, Broken Bow, and English Oaks. Is that 4? Okay, so I'm correct on that. Okay, all right. Is that safe? As far as the planning department, is that safe for evacuations and things like that? That would be enough to get people out of there quickly and safely?
That's another good question, but, I would say, I mean, again, in doing the reviews of the traffic, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's been reviewed by public safety and they've signed off on.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea not to go through the other one that turned left on Taylor there, because
I don't think you're gonna get a lot of people who are gonna go there to go to, on Rocco Road either.
No.
Rocco Road's gonna be more for people to get out from.
from one to
Yeah.
the other, yeah,
So-
I agree. Now, any fill dirt that's moved and dug out for dirt, for a lake and that sort of thing, is it stay on the property?
That I don't know.
What it said in the packet, Steve, was that whatever they don't use for fill, they'll move off the property. That's what it says in here.
They'll move off the
It
property?
comes off the property. So whatever they don't use, is that correct, Glenn?
Typically, but generally, when you do fill for, I'm sorry, you would like me to answer?
Go ahead, yes.
Typically, on a development like this, most of the fill, and especially in this case because of the tiered site, almost all of it will be used on site. It costs too much to bring it on site, and usually there's a deficit. Sometimes you need more fill than what you're actually getting from your stormwater drainage.
Thank you. Looking at it, Steve, and just from what I saw, the pond itself has the dry pond right next to it. I don't see that there's gonna be a lot of surplus or dirt coming out of what's there. When
Yeah.
you talk about after you clear and you're digging that pond and you're using that to grade lots and infrastructure, build roads, I don't see there being a big surplus of dirt coming out of there, to be honest with you.
My last question is they still contemplating a vinyl fence along the front?
That's what I see in this.
Because
That's
I
what see
saw
in
what
here.
happened to Parkwood's vinyl fence,
Every vinyl fence.
Yeah.
and that's a concern.
And I do know that the buffer, the landscape buffer that's in front of that fence is increased.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, so,
Move to approve case number 17-500000008.
second.
And is that with the variance,
Two variances.
with the 2 variances and also subject to the fair share agreement?
With the provisions in the agenda.
And I second.
The motion's clear and second
Yep.
by Junko. Call the roll, please.
John Junko?
Yes.
Bill Wilkie?
Yes.
Mike Armino?
Yes.
Thomas Jordan?
Yes.
Newton White?
Yes.
Lance Green?
Yes. Case number 17-500000005, subdivision replat and plans for Westport Reserve Phase 3.
Tim Berman, Community Development. Thought I was at council there for a minute. I was waiting for it. This is basically a continuation of a project you guys seen a couple of times, the Westport Reserve subdivision, which basically is located off of Town West Boulevard. This is the phase 3. This is the last one portion basically to be developed on the south side of Town West Boulevard. This is between basically the existing development and Tomoka Farms Road. It's going to be 115 single-family lots. Again, staff basically has done the concurrency review on this. Concurrency for public services and facilities is being met. As for transportation, it's going to be similar to the King's Landing one. We're going to have to do a fair share. There are a couple of roadways that are over capacity with the trips that are being created here. So we are still reviewing that traffic study. Prior to going to council, we will enter in a fair share agreement for mitigation for those roadway projects. Like I said, we're still working that out with the applicant, but that fair share payment will have to go as required by code to council before we go then. This is basically the same thing that was the Planning Commission saw when Woodhaven Phase 1 came before them a couple months ago. At that time, we were still working out the mitigation payment. Once it was resolved, it went on to our city council. This is consistent with the PCA future land use that has been in place since about 2001. Staff is recommending approval of the replat for Phase 3, subject to the concurrency and fair share agreement going before council.
Okay. Tim, this leads me to this question, and again, as we see these projects starting to come online, and we see the one that just walked out the door, when you're talking about, you're saying we're doing a concurrency review for public services, correct?
Correct.
And that includes police, fire, or how does it go when we're adding homes? That concurrency says that we have enough police to police the houses that we're doing.
We don't. The concurrency, the 7 criteria that we have to review are in the report. Police and fire are not part of that. However, police and fire, they do get these plans, they review them, and they, sign off on them. So their review is done. The services that we look at are the ones that are here: roads, public infrastructure, water, sewer, schools, recreation facilities, making sure those are available. Those are the ones that we're required to look at then.
In schools, we don't really have control over that at all.
Schools is mainly just getting them to review it and that letter back to us saying that meets it. So that's kind of our review on the schools then. But those are the 7 that when we have to review, like the state basically there, are the ones that we're looking at. But as to your question regarding fire and police, they are aware of these subdivisions that are coming in, the number of homes that are coming in. And as they're reviewing these projects with us and signing off on them before we bring them before you guys.
What is the criteria for the police department and the fire department? How do they evaluate a project?
I would have to speak directly with them. I don't have that criteria.
I would say with the fire department, because of newer homes, it's probably a lot safer, a lot less challenging, other than police department with your the different issues.
Fire department, there is a station just down the street from this
No, I
site that was
understand,
built on that
and
one.
I'm not even talking about this, I'm just saying, here we are, we're coming online with these projects, and we got Woodhaven down the line, and we're looking at these, and these are where our future planning of our homes are, and I'm just asking, at what point in time does it
And we're
trip?
in constant communication with them as to this has been approved for this many houses, it's online, so they, we're constantly providing them here, 2 to 3 year forecasts of what could be coming out then, so
Yeah.
we're giving that updated, hey, this is what you could expect. So it's not like, oh, we just
Okay.
got all these homes here then. So
All right,
we're
any other
communication
questions
with
of Tim, Mike?
Just like a question of procedure of like when you're doing concurrency, but they have to go in front of the county to get the concurrency, right? Or they're doing a review, the county will do a review to find out what their fair share is.
Well, in this case, basically, the county gets involved when it's basically they've got a access road onto a county roadway. In this case, since they access a local street, the city will be working out that fair share.
Even though the impact is going to be on county roads.
Yeah, we might have to be in communication with them, but basically it'll be us being the lead on this one then.
Okay, because
The Woodhaven one was separate because they had direct access onto Williamson. They're there, then that's why it's a little bit different depending on which road you're accessing then.
and just my opinion is just the realistic thing is they're going to end up on either Tomoka Farms Road or Williamson.
Correct.
No other way to get around it. So it's really impacting the county roads more than it's impacting city roads.
Right. So that's why we'll be in communication with them.
Tom?
I'm good. Fine.
Newt?
I'm good.
Bill, you got something for
I'm fine.
Jan?
Nope.
Johnny? Okay. Do we need to hear from the applicant? Is there an applicant? Do we need to hear from an applicant?
Only if you have any questions.
Any questions of the applicant, anybody? Anybody from the audience care to speak to it? Anybody? Sarah? You're the only one that's here. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve case number 175000005.
Second. And that's subject to the fair share agreement, and also, is this the one with the St. John's River Water Management District permit is still outstanding? Or is it the next one, phase 4? Can you answer that? Is it Mike, do you know?
This St. John's is outstanding.
On phase
this
3?
one, on
So,
this one,
so
yeah.
subject to the St. John's permit.
Okay, so
And the
hold
fair
on,
share
let me-
agreement.
let me start over again.
Please.
I want to just redo that motion real quick, just to make sure we're good. Go, motion.
Make a motion to approve case number 175-00005 with the St. John's criteria, the St. John's,
Subject to the St. John's permit and also the fair share agreement.
and
with
also the
city.
fair share. with-
Okay. And my second was from Tom. Any further discussion? Anybody? Call the roll, please.
Tom Bronco.
Yes.
Bo Boshman.
Yes.
Mike Arminio.
Yes.
Thomas Jordan.
Yes.
Newton White.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes. Case number 17-5000006, subdivision plat and plans, Reserve, Westport Reserve Phase 4.
Tim Berman, Community Development. This is the
Sure.
phase basically north of Town West Boulevard, and this is going to be 78 lots on that property. This one will basically connect also into the existing already built Coquina Cove subdivision, so there will be interconnection with that adjacent subdivision. Same review was completed on this in terms of public facilities and services. We are going to have the same as phase 3, address the traffic concurrency prior to going to council. And staff is recommending approval of this project, subject to that fair share agreement and also the resolution of the issue or the issuance of the St. John's permit. Then,
That's on this one as well?
correct,
And the fair shares on this one as well?
correct.
Comments? Anybody up here?
So Tim, is this the last hurrah for Towns West, basically right now, at least for Orange side?
Yeah, this
These
is
last two projects?
it. And then,
Pretty
like we
much.
indicated in the report, when you looked at what could have been theoretically built on Town West versus what actually came through, we're about less than 50% of what was initially planned in terms of maximum density there. Then,
So
but this
as
is
far
it for Town West Boulevard.
So as far as any more, we're actually making better with the density.
There are still actually there is
There's still a little more
there's
property
still
to the north.
two little areas
Yeah,
here.
but in that county though, I mean, that's where it gets kind of squirrely. Not sure which is county, which is city. Up there off of Tomoka.
Oh, down that one
There's
road
two areas
there.
right here. If you can, I don't know if you can see. Basically, the pointer is right here,
Yeah.
and this area right here, and this area here. They're not part of these plats. They're basically individual owned properties. I believe that whole district plan had proposed those as future commercial locations.
Mm-hmm.
That could be down the road though, but those are technically not part of that plat. So this is the only thing that will be left undeveloped off of Town West Boulevard then. The rest is pretty much, you got Royal Palm over here,
Yeah.
and the only other portions here would be those kind of corner parcels on Williamson and Town West, which are designated for commercial.
The two parcels you have there at Tomoka Farms, those are both currently zoned commercial?
It's part of the PCA zoning district there, but they're designated for commercial office use instead.
Okay.
You mean like cell towers?
Oh, boy.
Storage units?
Could you start?
Yeah,
building-
storage.
Could you start building a large building there and then leave it? for
All right,
about-
let's, anything else for Tim?
Yeah, one question. So I noticed I'm sorry, where was it here? On the conservation, the tree preservation, that's off-site? That's still being met with a percentage,
Yeah, the
but
way the
it's
code's written
technically
in
off
the
the plan?
PCA, you can technically do off-site. That's kind of what Coquina
Right.
Cove initially did. So we've got it with a designated easement over it, so it's tracked, so it can't be used elsewhere for
Good.
county then.
Is it?
Newton? Anybody?
Good.
All right, thank you, Tim. Do we need to hear from the applicant? Any questions of the applicant?
No.
Do we need to hear anybody from the audience? Sarah? Entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve case number 175000006 with the variance request and also the St. John's. Huh?
Fair share
Fair share. That's
and
what I-
St. John's.
And St. John's application.
Second.
You clear on that motion?
I'm
Okay.
not.
You missed one
You give it
zero.
back to
You
me?
missed a zero too.
Yeah,
So.
I did.
Who was my second? Let's call the roll, please.
John Bronco.
Yes.
Bo Boshman.
Yes.
Mike Arminio.
Yes.
Thomas Jordan.
Yes.
Newton White.
Yes.
Lance Green.
Yes. All right. Commissioner comments? Tim, I got criticized this week by my fellow members up here
Have you heard
because
about that?
the Waffle House sign was so big.
What's that?
It's
Because
like a
Waffle House
magnet.
sign was so big.
It's like a magnet.
Tom was up next to it, he looked very small.
That's right. City manager chimed in on it too.
Yeah. Classic.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
What's new? I heard through the grapevine that one of the restaurants in the pavilion's gonna go to an out parcel. That's coming out.
We had some inquiries from the engineer, contractor, and architect about that. It sounds like one of them are looking to move to that one that's located next to where Five Guys is.
Mhm.
So we get some development going on there, new building.
Yep. So that'll be good.
Is there anything going on, you know, like Nova, where the O'Reillys, those 2 lots that are left over? I know there was something supposed to go in.
Yes, there is a approved site plan for a Family Dollar at that middle
We need one.
location right there.
Really?
So Family Dollar, along with some stormwater improvements, will fill that area out in that. in
I
between
swear
there.
we said that road had to connect to
Yeah,
that.
we did. We did.
And it's not,
Connectivity, we had.
and it's not.
They did what they were required to do to get it to the Clark property. What needs to happen
So
is
now somebody's gonna access it by accident.
yeah, I think so.
Leaving the Waffle House.
If you put a ramp there, you might be able to access it. But yeah, it's just, you know, with interconnectivity, we can do, you know, we got to get basically it involves basically the partnership between the 2 property owners there to make it work. In both cases, with the AutoZone and the Waffle House, we had basically, you know, provide that comment to do the stub outs, and also provided the contact information with that same property owner, and said, you know, please contact them because we'd like to get all done at once, include on your plans. Makes construction a lot easier then versus having to do it later on then. They, you know, they in both cases made effort to contact that property owner trying to work it out, but they were not able to resolve on their private end, basically there. So they were able to stub it out, so whenever All Aboard redevelops or he chooses to do that then, it's set up then. We even have easements drafted, ready to go.
Yeah, Lance,
I thought that when Andy brought that in front of us, it was like all part of the package and it's gonna go through, and then it was
Well,
like.
there was
it's
originally
not.
one
It
time,
was like,
went back
wow.
and looked at it, basically, it originally, I think Planning Commission actually saw one where he had the whole entire,
Yeah.
All Aboard and that property as one PCD,
Mhm.
but after it got through you, something happened and that fell apart, and then it came back as just the property that you see now with Waffle House, the middle section, and O'Reilly's is its own separate PCD.
Yeah,
And that's the only property then, and
And that's
if,
what
if
happened.
the All Aboard storage was tied to it, then it would have more teeth to the MDA, but since it was just that one property, we kinda, that PCD is just those 3 lots that we had to work with then.
It didn't come in front of us that way.
Well, I had raised that
Yeah.
same question,
Yeah.
and so city clerk was kind enough to send me minutes and the audio recordings of it. I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but yeah.
Interesting.
that's-
Anything happening with Riverwalk? Any
The
permits, anything?
park is opening November 4th.
Yeah.
Okay.
good.
On that one then. Like I said, I think we talked to you before, basically the park design has been submitted in front of the Riverwalk project you guys approved last year. So we're currently reviewing that. That's basically the trail, the 20-foot wide trail there with the landscaping improvements is currently what we're reviewing right now.
Still
But
nothing
there's
from Buddy as far as.
no
the
movement on the
restaurant
development of the point or the condo property then.
Sign looks good.
goes? That's a shame.
When's
The,
It's got something.
what's the time frame on that? There was a time frame attached to that plan. How
Yeah,
much?
That
3
was
years.
Yeah, 3 years.
yeah,
3
basically
years.
that was kind of tied to the TIF reimbursement. There is the timing there. So if that doesn't meet that, and then that TIF agreement basically in terms of would expire then.
He's about
But-
2 years out though.
Yeah, but there was no basically in terms of development itself. Then there was no time frame to get that going. It was more about getting the economic incentives.
Anything new on US 1?
Medians.
Medians are going in.
Trees.
Trees.
I think originally we got the Blue Ribbons pools is getting redeveloped. Corner
I'll
of
tell you
Charles
what,
and-
man, it was
and
packed
Ridgewood.
down there for Bike Week though. First turn.
Yeah,
I know it's seasonal. But
So what was
you can
wrong
still
with,
put on a good show down there.
what was wrong with the
Ridgewood,
trees
they sell the
there?
place.
Yeah, I know.
What's that?
you know.
What was wrong with the trees on Ridgewood?
They're looking
So-
at the quality of the trees.
I understand a lot of them didn't pass the.
I mean, one of the things that we're running into is that a lot of areas in Florida are not being able to, due to high demand, there's a supply and demand issue that, you cannot get that size because there's such a huge demand for trees in this area now due to all the development that's occurring.
Plus, they're very sensitive. People don't understand when you cut a palm tree, it's got to be wet, it's got to be raining, and it's got to be, and
So we've
they
got,
go into
staff
shock
is working
pretty
with
easy.
that contractor on, you know, on the tree issue then.
And a lot of people, you know, a lot of people asking me why the crepe myrtles were taken down, but it's not our, it wasn't the city's decision. That's with FDOT, am I right?
The FDOT project.
That had nothing to do with us as far as any of that
Yeah.
stuff happening.
Is there any update on the status for that commercial property on Willow Run, the church?
No.
Because they're getting close to their.
Madeline.
We've been
Madeline.
We're trying to work up a meeting with the property owner to go over the timeline that is in that MDA
You
agreement.
made contact with them? They're in
We're trying to set up a meeting with them.
We should let all the residents of Port Orange go out there and beat it down with a sledgehammer.
They love it. Well, you know, one of the, you know,
Just do it before August.
You know, with all the growth going, you know, eventually it's going to revert back towards the east. And in Nova, there's a lot of properties on there that are still raw land, which I think is going to be easier. You know, one of the things that I was going to ask you about this, Tim, was that the corner of Madeline and Nova, where that, you know, Biscuits and Gravy used to be years ago. It burnt down. It's been vacant for a long time. I mean, to me, that would be a good piece of property. It's a big piece of property. It's still commercial. Is anything ever happening there or no?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
boy, you're looking at me and you're smucker.
Well, I know you're gonna basically you're not gonna like my
You
use. I
got a
tell you,
Wawa,
but basically
Cumberland
it is a
Farms,
permitted
or
use.
Wawa.
Don't tell me it's another dollar store.
No, it's not another dollar. It's a Circle K store at that location. At that location,
Well, that's
Circle
what was
K's
there before too. So I mean, gas
are.
station.
We did basically on that one. I think we're making headway because they are adjacent to another commercial property that actually did a stub out, and it sounds like they had indicated they had worked with the owner to hopefully make that one go through.
Oh,
So
goody.
might be a convenience store, but I might get you an interconnected access drive.
How
Yeah.
did the things from under the bridge go through the city council?
The variance goes. is
Our
a
deck
planning
under, or
commission.
whatever it was,
Yeah,
and
the
its
both of those just
pavilion
go
and-
to planning commission. We met with the DJ's deck to work out a couple of remaining issues on their building permit, so that should be coming back in and be able to be issued there so they can build. And the Jimmy Hulas, we spoke with them, and it looks like they're wrapping up their engineer drawings. They get those into us, I think, probably before the end of this year.
Excellent.
And they're looking, hopefully from a year to year and a half to get that from the time they submit them
Yeah.
to up built it.
Why they still have a for sale sign on it?
Sweet. Huh?
They said
What?
they are still finalizing the deal.
Oh, they haven't bought it.
That's still basically finalizing the deal. Then they
It
wanted to
didn't
get
say sale pending. It just
yeah,
said
they wanted to
for
get
sale.
the they indicated they want to get the variance approved and also at least the site plan under one review before they
So everyone
pull the
built it.
trigger. Then
Yeah.
yeah, I talked to the engineer
They
and
want
we
that
actually
thing ready.
we talked to the engineer and the developer this week, and they both indicated it'd be coming in the next few weeks. Then
If they spend that kind of money, they're not going to walk away from it.
Excellent.
Two quick questions.
What about Giuseppe's? Are they, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Bo.
No, I was just asking about Giuseppe's.
they
What's going
resubmitted
on?
yesterday.
Yeah.
On their plans then. So we've already had one initial review of it then. So hopefully this resubmittal is the final review.
Building
And-
permit or site plan?
Site plan right now. I don't believe the building permit has been officially submitted.
Still gonna be in phases though, right? The parking lot now.
Well, the variance that you guys approved was the concept of reusing the existing building. They've scrapped that idea,
Huh.
and they're going to build a new building on the north side of the property,
Oh,
Oh.
yeah, seen
and
any of
then
that.
come back and demolish the existing building and make that parking lot then.
Hold on a second, that's gotta
That's-
come back in front of us.
So,
That's actually a good thing.
but what it did was resolved a lot of the variances.
Oh, did it?
The variances
Yeah.
didn't apply because you're starting with a new site then.
Are they scooting the building over more away from Nova
Probably
now?
away from the road. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot better
Really?
plan for them.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's more that Nova in that area right there then is where
Right.
that's going to be on that north end, and the rest will be a parking lot with the proper landscaping, stormwater
Excellent.
on that one then. So that one we're currently reviewing right now.
So they're going to build it while they're tearing the other, or before they tear the other one down. So
They gotta keep on making money.
Yeah.
They'll
know
build,
that, that's what I'm
they'll,
wondering.
they'll
for
build
it.
new, move into the new one, and then get the new one operating, and come back, demolish the old one, and finish off the parking lot.
Excellent. Good deal.
Yeah, good deal.
I had a question about hotel at the corner of Williamson and Taylor Dunlawton.
Summer trees?
I don't know, that was a question. Is
I
there a
heard
project
something
coming?
about- something
I was
about-
told
I think
about-
you're the
I was asked about Holiday Inn
I-95.
Express.
The well, I know we've got two sites in that area that basically are both zoned for commercial or
Right.
hotels.
Right.
You've got one basically on the north or the southbound on ramp of 95, Taylor Road and Williamson.
Right.
That area, there has been pre-application meetings where a hotel has been discussed.
The old truck stop?
The old truck stop.
But I thought
Well,
the
so
storage
we'll put
unit
storage
at one
unit there.
time?
Well, that's about an 8-acre site, so they're looking to do the storage unit, hotel, and restaurant on there. I
Yeah.
believe what we've got in, which we just got in, I think yesterday or today, we're still checking it in, was the site plan for the storage building only on there. But there had been discussions about a hotel going on that site.
But nothing official yet.
Nothing
no meeting.
officially has been submitted regarding the hotel, just the storage unit.
But there is a hotel site actually behind the,
7-Eleven.
well, not 7-Eleven, but there's one
Oh.
behind, Sweet Frogs.
Yes, that one's got a
Yeah.
available site there, and there's also one that's pretty much on the concept plan by 7-Eleven and the northbound off-ramp. That area too has been
The Taco Bell,
concept plan.
or the,
Yeah,
the Secret Bell, I mean, Secret not?
That,
That we
that's
approved a long time ago?
yeah.
That
That one
site?
basically had, you know, kind of a
Variance.
hotel has been conceptually discussed at that location too over the past couple
Really?
of months. And
If you can't get a Taco Bell in there without a variance, what are you gonna get, how are you gonna get a hotel in there? You're just going to straight tube, straight up in there, you know, one floor?
So wait, let me back up here. So
Hotel.
is there, how much space is there behind the 7-Eleven
there's enough space to fit
to do a hotel?
a hotel. They've, I mean,
Didn't we do a variance for that for?
you did a
for
variance on
drive-through?
that for the drive-through for a restaurant.
But a hotel is permitted right now then without variance.
It's one of the permitted uses there.
But nobody's talked about that one, no meetings?
I don't know how they
Or are
get in
there
there.
meetings?
We've had basically inquiries from the engineer, basically with what the setbacks are, what the requirements are for
Okay.
the hotel. And, you know, they've indicated to us that they can design a hotel in there and comply with all our requirements. We'll wait to verify that until it's officially submitted and we get our hands on to look at it then.
Let me ask you a question though, Tim. Now, when a hotel goes in, do they have to bow down to the concurrencies as well, especially traffic? I mean, or do we have to do road improvements and things like that? Because, I mean, if a hotel goes in either one of those lots, it's gonna be, I mean, it's congested. Well, I mean, Lance can probably tell you, I mean, it's congested.
Well, I mean,
right now.
you setting back thing, fair share.
We'll have, you know, a traffic
the same
study.
thing as a-
The
as a
traffic study, we'll
residential.
look at that when that specific hotel, depending on the number of rooms and stuff like that.
And trip
But
and all that.
we'll look at that when it comes in and evaluate it then.
So, but we don't have in our codes, again, we're going right back to uses of same businesses next to each other. I mean, here we go now with the storage building. You're gonna put in a storage facility and you got Andy Clark's one right next door.
Yep.
I mean, here
And one
and
of the
we're gonna have
corners.
3 of them within a 3-mile span. I mean, here, I don't get it, but we don't have any, you know.
Yeah, well, the one over there by Sweet Frog, I mean, that hotel over there, they actually, years ago, how long ago was that, 5 years ago, where we actually approved
Yeah.
a storage facility behind that hotel.
Really?
And I've heard that might come back
For Lee?
for the.
Country Inn and Suites.
Country Inn and Suites.
Right.
And I heard we might be able to.
Yeah, that, I mean, that
we
one,
might be
they
seeing
have
that
a,
again.
that one, you'll probably actually see the subdivision
Mhm.
for that next, in November here. They're proposing to subdivide the property as it was shown on the concept plan that got approved in, I think, '08.
Mhm.
And then come forward with a, self-storage facility at that location. That one actually has the concept plan for the self-storage facility on there then, so that one's,
Yeah,
you know,
we
also.
approved- We approved the variant, I mean, because I remember we had a long discussion about, you know, tree buffers because there were 1-acre lots behind it, all that stuff like that.
You know, it's like you know, it's like hotels in the little area. I'm okay with it because we're getting sports complex. We're having people come to town, people staying in our town. That's one
Money.
thing, but then we start flooding them with storage boxes. It's like holy cow. But
They got to stay in a hotel while their house getting built.
yeah.
Got to put their stuff somewhere.
Any other comments for Tim?
No, thank you, Tim.
Any comments from the general public? Sarah, you're it. Yeah, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn. Happy Halloween, everybody. Whoop, you hit
What?
the gavel.
The scheduling has the planning commission meeting in December as December 21st. I think we've contacted everyone, everyone's okay with moving that meeting to December 14th. So we'll adjust that on our calendars, let our applicants know, and we'll send you an email reminder that basically that meeting will be moved to December 14th.
Cool.
I want to make Tim, you've done a great job over the years, man. I hope that you're in the running for that position. I'd love to have you as our leader, community development. Thank you.
Second. A second.